Welcome back to The Explainer. So, if you've spent any time at all looking into personal finance or wealth building, you know it absolutely feels like drinking from a fire hose. I mean, everybody's got an opinion, right? Where you should be, what you should have saved, when you can finally breathe easy. But while digging into some recent financial analysis by Nick Invests, I found this truly fascinating insight. It basically strips all that noise away and reveals the actual tipping point, the exact moment the math fundamentally shifts in your favor.
So let me just ask you right off the bat, what do you think is the ultimate money target when you're first starting out on your wealth building journey? Like if you had to pick one specific number right now that proves you've made it, or at least set yourself up for undeniable success, what would that number be for you?
I'm guessing a whole lot of you immediately jumped to this one. $1 million. It is the classic, shiny milestone that literally every personal finance book seems to shout about from the rooftops. We're totally culturally conditioned to aim for the $1 million mark as the absolute finish line of financial freedom.
Or, maybe your mind went here, that wildly popular six-figure milestone. We hear this constantly in financial advice circles, the idea that the first 100 grand is the absolute hardest. And once you hit a six-figure portfolio, you can just put everything on autopilot. And sure, $100,000 is a fantastic goal, absolutely. But focusing entirely on it when you're starting from literally zero, that can feel incredibly daunting.
Well, according to Nick Invests, both of those massive numbers might actually just be giant distractions. Because the real tipping point, the moment the game truly fundamentally changes for you, is just a fraction of that. $20,000. And what's so beautiful about this specific number is just how surprisingly attainable it actually is for someone who's willing to put in the focused work.
To really understand why this $20,000 mark is so vital, you just have to look at the sheer amount of noise out there. Beginners are constantly bombarded with these intense, crazy titles like The Moment Your Net Worth Hits $2 Million, or Why the First 100K Changes Everything, or 100K to 1 million, The Math. Look, if you've got a net worth of $1,000 and you're trying to digest content about managing 2 million, it's not just intimidating, it's utterly disconnected from your current reality.
So we need to cut through that noise. We've got to focus on the foundation. Because here's the honest truth. Trying to hit massive, towering wealth right out of the gate, it's totally demoralizing. It leads straight to burnout. It's literally like trying to run a marathon before you've even learned how to jog a single mile. And that is exactly why we're shifting our focus away from those massive numbers today and zeroing in on the most critical early hurdle you're going to face. Okay, let's dive into this. Nick Invests officially defines this crucial early hurdle as the 20K rule. This is the exact financial threshold where your savings and your investments truly begin to transform your trajectory. It unlocks whole new opportunities for wealth creation. Basically, it's the bridge between just barely surviving and actually building something real.
Think about it. Before you hit 20 grand, man, it is a daily struggle. You are scraping together those first few $1,000s, you're doing the heavy lifting of building brand new financial habits from scratch, and honestly, the growth feels painfully slow. But after 20K, that is when the momentum kicks in. Your money actually starts working for you, generating this noticeable acceleration toward lasting financial freedom. It is a complete paradigm shift.
Nick Invests describes this perfectly, pointing out the transformative power behind reaching this milestone. And really notice that word, transformative, because it isn't just about having 20 grand sitting idle in an account somewhere. It's about the profound psychological and financial shift that happens in your brain. You've proven to yourself that you can save, that you possess discipline, and that you are an investor. That identity shift is just as important as the monetary shift.
And this brilliantly illustrates the math behind it. At $5,000, you've got a baseline. It's a great safety net for sure, but the growth is essentially flat. At $10,000, okay, you start to see some slight growth, a little bit of a bump. But at $20,000, that is exactly where we see this massive upward spike. This is the precise savings amount where compound interest finally explodes, and the math completely flips in your favor. Your returns start to actually feel tangible, which naturally keeps you motivated to keep pushing.
So the theory makes total sense. We know exactly why this number matters. But how do we actually get there? How do we cross that threshold from the painfully slow growth phase right into that massive momentum phase? Well, let's take this explainer from the theory down to the ground-level practical application. To get us there, Nick Invests provides a super straightforward 4-part blueprint. Number 1, master budgeting. 2, start side hustles. 3, accelerate income growth. And 4, consistent investing. Look, it's not some magic trick, it's just a highly strategic system.
Let's break those down a bit. Mastering money management literally means tracking every single dollar,
Why? Because you cannot optimize what you do not measure. Period. That early discipline is exactly what fuels phase 2, building profitable side hustles. And when you combine that hustle with aggressive primary income growth, like negotiating a solid raise or upskilling at your day job, you suddenly have optimized, accelerated cash flow, cash you can then commit to consistent, long-term investing in the market. That early management is the absolute fuel for everything else required for lasting freedom.
To summarize the ultimate value of everything we've covered today, I really want to leave you with this thought from our source material. Understanding this key financial threshold can unlock new opportunities for wealth creation and long-term success. See, the goal of the 20K rule isn't just to hoard a pile of cash. No, it's about the doors that swing wide open once you hit it. You've got an emergency cushion, you have capital to potentially invest in a business, and crucially, you have the psychological confidence to take calculated risks that could literally 10x your net worth.
So you've got the blueprint now. You know the exact target you need to aim for to unlock that incredible financial momentum. And more importantly, you know exactly why those massive, intimidating numbers shouldn't freak you out right now. The math is going to be completely on your side once you cross this line. So my question for you as we wrap up this explainer is simple. You know the target. How fast are you going to hit $20,000? Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Get out there, start tracking those dollars, and I'll catch you in the next one.